Today's Chicago Bears Mailbag is sponsored by our good friends over at Magic Spoon. I'm a big fan of the cocoa cereal. Love the peanut butter as well, but get this high-protein, healthy, and delicious cereal at magicspoon.com/bears. You can get $5 off. We'll have a link in the chat, in the comments, the description. Click and shop today. $5 off. Get a box, get 4 boxes. Try their healthy and protein-packed cereal. Let's get into your questions now. Jay Barca 10. What's your prediction of the Bears' record this season? Subscribe and go watch our video because this video went out literally on Sunday. Full schedule breakdown and prediction of every single game and my final record. Find out if you guys think I have the Bears making the playoffs or missing the playoff. You hit the subscribe button, go to the videos tab. It should be right there. Alan McChristian, is Dalton better than Money Mitch? I still think he is, and I know, especially after the preseason game, everybody was like, oh, Trubisky's so much better than Dalton. I don't really think he is. That's not to shame Mitch. He'll be a good backup for a while and maybe even starter again, but Dalton's more advanced in terms of pre-snap, in terms of reading defenses. Now, he's not great by any means. He doesn't have a great arm, but I do think he's at least moderately better than Mitchell Trubisky. Adam White, you think a rebuild is on the horizon? I hope not a full-fledged rebuild because the time to compete for, NFC championships and Super Bowls is while your quarterback is cheap. So by 2022, you should hope to go into that season with a chance to make a run. Now, not be a Super Bowl favorite or something like that, but by then, Justin Fields is fully fledged with the offense. You should feel good with him. And you should try to go make a run with him for those next few years before he gets the bag. Now, you can chase Super Bowls with a franchise quarterback making $35, $40, $45 million a year. It just becomes harder. You really have to hit on your draft picks and make smarter decisions in free agency. So I don't think a full-fledged rebuild is happening, but you never know. Sean the Sheep. Wow. More likely scenario, Andy Dalton leads the Bears to the playoffs or Justin Fields wins Rookie of the Year? This is a good question. And my producer's cooking this up real quick. I think it's Justin Fields winning Rookie of the Year. I think that's more likely. Now, I'm not saying either scenario is super likely or impossible. Both could happen. They both couldn't happen simultaneously. Obviously, if Andy Dalton leads you to the playoffs, Justin Fields isn't winning Rookie of the Year. But you could make the playoffs. Fields could win Rookie of the Year. I think both are a possibility. But if I had to pick one that's more likely, I would say Fields winning Rookie of the Year is more likely than Andy Dalton playing the entire season and leading this team to the playoffs. But speaking of, do you think the Bears will make the playoffs? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's show, so scroll on down if you get hit with that YouTube ad break and just type a simple Y or N. Mr. Lee, will Jalen Ramsey line up against his father or stick with A-Rob all night? His father being Darnell Mooney, of course. Mooney absolutely torched him a couple of times last year. Too bad Nick Foles couldn't hit him. We'll see what happens, right? I didn't even mention Mooney versus Ramsey in the preview. Obviously, that's something we're all going to watch for. I would love him to torch Ramsey again. There's no doubt about that. But I think Ramsey will probably stick on one side of the ball. Ethan Eli, do you think freeing up cap space from Jimmy will be used to sign a vet O-line or maybe Sherman? I think it's just to get under the cap number and roll over some cap for next year, or if an injury happens, they can sign a player. That's the main thing, because the Bears were $2 million below the cap number. They had to get in the positive before Week 1, so they had to clear some money. So yeah, that's kind of my thought on that. Paul Dow, what do you think of Amik Robertson for CB help? Undersized, but was a great cover corner coming out and wound up on a bad defense. Yeah, it came out of Louisiana Tech, got drafted by the Raiders, didn't work out. I don't think he's going to solve your problems. If you want to bring him on the practice squad and let him compete, and then maybe he gets elevated, sure, but I don't think he's like a major upgrade from what you already have. Jacob Cutler, Smokin' Jay, what did you think about how Sean Desai ran the defense, and do you think he should be more aggressive than he was in the preseason? Thought he made some good adjustments in the final preseason game. I thought he struggled in that Bills game, did not adjust to what they were doing, which was just, excuse me, drink some water real quick. In that Bills game, it was just quick passes from Trubisky Didn't mix up the coverages or the blitzes at all, which was concerning, but I thought he adjusted against Tennessee. So a mixed bag. I think he does need to mix in more blitzes and be aggressive. I think you should take chances because this cornerback unit is not great, if we're being honest. What did you guys eat for breakfast today? It, of course, is the most important meal of the day. So I want to know, what did you guys eat for breakfast? If you had breakfast at all. If you didn't eat, just be like, oh, I didn't eat breakfast, which is disappointing because I eat breakfast every day. Let me know what you had, and I'll tell you what I had. I had Magic Spoon cereal because this has become the way I start my day every day. I wake up, get my yawns out of the way, scroll through Twitter, and then I start prepping for my workout. So the way I do that is I just pour a bowl of Magic Spoon cereal, whatever flavor it is. I got all of these sitting at home, blueberry, cinnamon, and the rest of them. And it's protein-packed cereal, and the flavors are delicious. Just showed you guys the cocoa. That's what I've been rocking with the last couple of days. You see the benefits below, 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar. Try all their flavors. You can get a 4-box deal. And all this, by the way, $5 off magicspoon.com/bears. 4-box combo where you try, the peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, and the cocoa. Figure out what you like, and hey, it's going to give you that burst of energy before your workout or even just before your work day. Or hey, maybe the wife or the girlfriend or whatever is too tired from work to cook to help you cook dinner. Just pour a bowl of Magic Spoon for cereal. It works the same. It's a great meal replacer at any point of the day. Get $5 off at magicspoon.com/bears. We'll also have a link in the comments and in the description. Got time for a few more questions here. Vibov Sunkata, realistically, when do you think Justin Fields will get in? I'm just guessing. I've said week 4 makes sense for his first start. I think he'll play before that. Now, will he, be the guy before that? I don't know. How about this? I think he plays at least one play against the Rams on Sunday. What capacity? Who knows? But I do think we'll see at least one play out of Justin Fields. Austin Wrecked 5. Do the Bears ride with Dalton strictly so he can have the revenge game against Cincinnati? You can't operate that way. I will say this. If Fields starts against Cincinnati, that means one of two things happen. Dalton got benched in week 1. Fields came in and looked phenomenal, so the rest is history. Or he got hurt. Otherwise, I think Dalton's probably starting at least a couple of games. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think if he plays average Sunday, they're going to punt and go to Justin Fields after one game. He's either going to have to be disastrous or he's going to have to get hurt. That's the only way he doesn't play against Cincinnati, in my opinion. Patrick Kotek, if the Bears go scoreless into the half, do we see Fields? If you go scoreless in a whole half, yeah, you'd have to think that that's at least a possibility. Say you're down 17-0, a lot of 3-and-outs, some turnovers. Pressure's on, Matt Nagy. Figure it out. I think you got to spark the team somehow. Jake Billington, after seeing how bad Nagy's play calling was in the preseason, do you reckon we could see Bill Lazor calling plays once Fields comes in? It's possible. You guys have to understand. Preseason play calling, teams are showing less than a quarter of their stuff. It's mostly vanilla. They don't want to give away too much of what they're trying to do. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. Could it have been better? Yes. Am I going to overreact? No. Now, if we get through 2 games and this team has 24 points in 2 games, then, yeah, I'm going to question the play calling and the offense. But let's see how this team looks on Sunday, and we'll go from there. Joshua Donovan, #Bears. Could Monty become a top 10 back after this year? I already think he is. A couple months ago, I did my top 10 running backs. I had Monty at 8. I think he's super underrated. I think he's a really good player. Leads the NFL in broken tackles usually. So, I'm a huge fan. After maybe Derrick Henry, of course, but in broken tackles. I think he's already top 10. I think he'll prove that he is this year. Duke Messias, do you think people are putting too much on the Rams D? This defense was so elite. How well did they do in last year's Super Bowl? Well, obviously they weren't in the Super Bowl, but I think it's a top 10 unit. You've got the best defensive player in the league. You've got arguably the best corner in Jalen Ramsey, even though we love to make fun of him. This is a good group. Floyd's a good. They have some other good pieces, so we'll see what happens. These teams haven't played a regular season game yet, but I do think it's going to be one of the better defenses, and you're going to have to scheme around it. Running out of time on this mailbag, which is why I want to tell you guys to go follow me on Twitter and send any questions you have over there. I'm at HGramNFL. go search me. Should pop up right away. We'll try to get a link in the live chat. We'll for sure have one in the description in the comments as well. Follow me. We're talking Bears football over there a lot, other sports as well. You can DM me your questions, and we will, of course, answer as many as we can. Do have time for a couple more during our live show. Mr. Lee, how does Fields not getting the start week 1 affect his career? Like, is he locked out of the Hall of Fame because he didn't start as a rookie? Of course not. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. Now, it's a different time. Rookies play earlier. They're more advanced. NFL schemes have been a little simplified. They have more college integration now, but it doesn't matter. His legacy is not going to be defined based on whether or not he started in week 1. So, no. Jacob Tuiana, over-under Montgomery rushes for 75. It needs to be over. I think he needs to go for over 100 if they're going to win this game against the Rams. If he's under, that's a bad sign. That means he got stuffed and the Bears lose. So I'll be optimistic. I'll go over. I think he's at least in the 80s. Mr. Inglewood, what do you think of the theory that the Bears are starting Dalton because the early schedule is heavy on AFC North teams he's familiar with? I don't think much into that. I think the Bears are comfortable with the veterans starting at the beginning of the season, and that's it. I think that's all it comes down to. If Dalton struggles, they'll make a change. If he plays well, they'll keep it rolling with him. I don't think the schedule should dictate who your starting quarterback is. If it is, then that's bad coaching. Tiger, if you can pick, you get the last word, by the way. If you can pick, would you rather have Walter Payton on your team or Tom Brady at quarterback? I love Payton, but it's all the answer is always quarterback. It just is, guys. Like, if you don't have a good quarterback, it's very hard to win, especially if this question is based on 2021. Now, in the 80s, maybe I would take Payton because the Bears proved that elite running and defense can win a Super Bowl. But in today's NFL, the answer is always going to be the quarterback. I would rather have the 12th best quarterback than the number 1 running back than I would have then I would rather have, how do I frame this? I would rather have the 12th best quarterback than the best running back, if that makes sense. Then I'd rather have that than vice versa. That's just what that comes down to.